Okay, so with my heart rate, remember that is my 15-second pulse check times 4. So I'm not putting, my result on the pulse check was 29 beats, but I need to multiply that by 4 because ACSM for that formula says it needs to be in beats per minute. So I put in 116 for me, okay? And then what's my first function that I want to do after I put in that 116 here?
The parentheses, you do that first.
Right, you want to perform the function within the parentheses first, right? So if I multiply 116 by 0.42, that gives me 48.72, okay? And then after that, it's pretty easy math, right? I just subtract that 48.72 from 111.33, and that gives me a VO2 score of 62.61, okay? So go ahead and put your score, your VO2, into the chat box if you feel comfortable.
So for Sheila, we would use the 180 for that formula.
For Sheila, so she had a 15-second recovery pulse of 45 beats. So we multiply that by 4, and that gives us 180. So you're correct. For those of you guys,
makes me mad as I revised that from this one, and my original one, I had it right, and then I just submitted this one, and it was wrong because I was like, well, now we've got this revised one, and so I didn't multiply it, and before I had it right because it was already at, it already had the full minute in there. So shoot. So can you will you reset it for me so I can fix the math part back to the way it was?
Sensing a pattern here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you submitted it early, there's no problem there. No problem. Yeah. So what you would do is you put that 180 in for Sheila. What would I put into that formula for Tim?
About 156.
So 39. So you guys say 156? Correct. Yeah, it's just multiplied by 4. Well done. Okay. For the women, same thing, same actions you perform, but the formula has slightly different numbers. Okay, same functions, slightly different numbers. Okay. Now, for Timothy, let's go to the YMCA one. For Timothy, and this is in your, so we're going to go into our NASM textbook, our NASM textbook. And we need to look at a chart. Oh, sorry, before we leave the ACSM textbook, flip the page over to go to 329 and 330.
Static and yellow.
What's that? Sorry, I didn't hear that, Nelvis.
I said if you had static, you can intermittent sounds in your communication is a problem.
Did you guys catch that? I'm sorry.
He's
sorry.
breaking up pretty bad.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse.
I'm sorry, my friend.
That he said it's getting worse and worse.
It's
Yeah,
getting
that
worse.
part we hear.
Yeah, we heard that. Yeah, just go ahead and use the chat box. Nelvis. No, it's still choppy.
Okay.
So if you go to page 329, it gives you values, VO2 values for men, okay? And then it gives you VO2 powers on the, I shouldn't say VO2 powers, it gives you VO2 scores for men, and it gives you VO2 scores for women on page 330, okay? Now, these are VO2 scores, like true VO2 scores. It's not like a typical graph. I mean, these VO2 scores are true for ergometer, ASTRAM rhyming test, you know, different tests, okay? So they're true scores. So this formula matches up with true VO2, okay? So take a look. So for me, I had a VO2 of 62. I'm 43 years old. So what category, according to this graph that you're seeing on my screen share, which is on page 329 of your ACSM text, where would I be in this score?
Excellent.
Yeah. So I scored a 62, so I'm 43 years old. So I would be right in this area right here. Okay. So for, you know, and then for your assignment, you basically need to do the same thing for the male client. I think his name was Timothy, right? So you'd need to look up his score here once you calculated it. Okay. And for the ladies, it's on, there's a different table for you guys. It's on the next page. Okay. So this is for the ladies. Now, if we go to our NASM textbook, so we'll leave ACSM and go to our NASM for our YMCA step test. And here's the thing, just as a side note, that makes me mad. NASM is a different company, and they're competitive. They're quite competitive. They don't play in the playground very nicely with the other groups, right? So they want to stand apart and stand out from ACSM and NSCA. So they purposely make all the tests slightly different or use different tests just because they want to be unique from the other two. Okay, so they're doing the YMCA step test, whereas ACSM in their textbook recommend the Queen's College, right? But actually, if you go to the ACSM's exercise testing and prescription manual, all of the tests are in there. But anyway, your NASM YMCA, Timothy scored a 60-second recovery pulse. That's the YMCA, okay? And as a mindset, just when you take a 60-second recovery pulse, it's easy to lose track of the beats. It's easy to miss a beat here and there. So you have to pay very close attention when you're taking pulse check for 60 seconds. Okay, but his 60 seconds was 100 beats. So where would he be on his chart, his table there?
He's average.
Yeah, I don't think I have that one in here. Yeah, I don't have it on my PowerPoint. So, and how about Sheila? She had 120 beats. How old is she? She's 57 years old.
If I did my math right, I got negative 32.
She's below average.
Yeah. So is that what people got? Was negative 32?
You
Oh,
did it
I'm
in
glad.
the wrong order.
So with the YMCA, there's no formula for it. You just have to look on the chart at the beats per minute. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I was doing the
Do you-
community college. I was on that one.
Do you still multiply the 120 by 4?
No, because
No.
that's 60 seconds.
Because it's a 60-second heart rate. Yeah. But they also don't tell you to do anything except for look at the chart. So you read the instructions for the test. It says take a 60-second pulse check, and then whatever number you got, you look on the chart with it. It's that easy. And that unprofessional, if you don't mind me putting my personal thought in there on that. I'd never take a book to the client and say, here you go. I'd have a little bit more sizzle than that. Okay. And I suggest that for you guys too. Even if you just take a picture of this and put it on your phone or something, rather than take the book out there on the floor. Okay. Yeah. So now there's one other step that once we find those scores, they want to know what condition Sheila's in and then what zone should we put her in. So if we take a look at our fitness assessment score for Sheila on page 131, let's take a look at step 4, just underneath the chart. What do we do there? She scored below average. So what's her zone?
Uno.
Zone 1. Do you guys see that there?